I take care of them, but I ask nothing in return because I don't want nothing in return. This woman, Diana, helped me unpack all of Valerie's stuff that I had coming to my place when I moved in. She's had mobility issues and she had to go everywhere in Greenwood, have to walk everywhere, and so I bought her an electric scooter. I don't have a lot of money, but I managed to get somehow a little bit of credit, a little bit of this, a little bit of savings, a little bit of tax return, all added up to one thing or another. I don't look at this helping people as I'm just doing what I do. If I have it, I'll give it to them, or if I get some way I can help them.
I'm learning every day from Don. Don is probably the most patient person that I've met in my lifetime, dealing with the adversities that he has in his life. I've never seen him disgruntled, I've never seen him unhappy, never frustrated. He's always very, very patient, and I need more of that in my life.
I was born in Oshawa, Ontario. Spent a few years in foster homes and children's aids because I had an abusive father, and he used to be mean to the kids and the mother. So finally she just left them, and she didn't have a job because she never worked before. We talk about the 50s. So we moved from Oshawa, then to foster homes and stuff, children's aid, and then she got us a job that paid her enough to get us back. A brother and two sisters. We all lived in the same place. 2-bedroom apartment over top of a pet store, which was nice because they had pets to play with. Valerie, I met her when we were both very young. I wasn't even 20 yet. I was probably 17 or something like that, and met her in a housing project where I used to live. We were together for a few years, probably 4 or 5 years. We had a child together. A guy I went to school with named Don Harris, and had a motorcycle and everything, and I don't know how it happened, but whenever she'd argue with me, she'd go hang out with Don Harris. Don Harris finally said to her, well, as long as you're here and he's here, you're never going to stay with me. So I'm going to take you to Calgary. For 36 years, I worked for Canada Post as a mailman. I did for 18 years on Ontario, and then I transferred out to Vancouver Island in 1990. I was married in 1992 on the island. We had a daughter, and I had my stroke in 2004. In 2008, early 2008, we were sitting at the dinner table, and she said to me, I'm not happy no more. I loaded up my truck as much as I could get in it, and I drove from the island to Ontario. And I bought a house in Ontario. I lived there for 10 years. 2017, my sister was using that silly stuff, what do you call it, Googling or something on the phones. She found her name on the internet. She was living in Sycamoose. And so after conversing back and forth a couple times, we finally agreed to meet. So this thing with the Valerie started happening and everything, and I was a witness then, and so now I was in a conflict because of her beliefs and my beliefs. She sent me tons and tons of books. little teeny paperback things, all those things you see on the table when you come in and out. I had envelopes full, brown envelopes full of them. I used to read because in the wintertime you can't do much else, it's too slippery outside, so I'd read sometimes 8-10 hours a day. After the ex-wife, I didn't really think about a relationship again because, number one, I'm not what I used to be. There was one person, I'm not sure who it was, I said, no, I'm not going to get into a relationship because, okay, I'm able to do stuff myself now, but in 15 years, who knows what I'll be capable of, and I don't want to saddle somebody else with that responsibility. And then next year, she came out again, and she stayed for a couple months, and then she said to me, I've got cancer. And I don't know if I'm going to live through it. So I said, well, I'll sell my house, I'll move to British Columbia, and I'll come look after you. And she said, well, it might only be a couple months. I said, well, at least it's 2 months. So I sold my house. So when I came out here, I only had about $200,000. Tried to find a house for $200,000. I'd go from Grand Forks all the way up to 100 Mile House or to Clearwater, stuff like that, trying to find suitable housing that I could afford. It didn't need a lot of work on it. The doctors went from 6 months to live to lucky if you had a month and a half. And I was visiting at the hospital, and I was sitting beside her bed holding her hand, and she was sort of in a coma, and then she gave up a couple gasps of air, and that was it, as I was holding her hand. It was upsetting because all that she'd gone through, she came back in the end to find me. This is it. All I have now is the church. I feel a sense of security of the church family, and the fact that I think it's such a small church family means more to me because I can connect to the people. I feel like part of it.
We talk every day, almost every day. I'd say that we're like brothers, blood brothers. I truly love him as a person. We've only known one another a brief time, but how our lives intersected in the past, even though we never met personally, our paths crossed. And when I had the opportunity to contact him in his hometown in Greenwood and start Bible studies with him, we've become really genuine friends. I'm going through a number of trials in my life right now, and I'm trying to look practically and look at Don's life and say, look, how would Don handle this? And he certainly taught me a lot about how to be patient, how to let God work things out.
I probably could have got in trouble for this when I was delivering the mail. I did it a few times when people are yelling and cursing at you and saying you're walking across the lawn or this or that or blah, blah, blah. They're venting. because that's what they do, because they're miserable life. You smile at them. They're expecting you to argue back, but you smile and say, you know what? Jesus loves you.